course, my camera goes out the moment I start on. It's back. Technical difficulties because why wouldn't we have technical difficulties on a night in which the Phoenix Suns lose 118-107 to the Golden State Warriors? They are now 3-5 on the season, and my camera is lame, so you might get a lot of for those watching, you might just get this the whole time, which is just me reverberating on the screen. But welcome to the Suns Jam Session podcast, brought to you by the BLEAV Podcast Network and sponsored by FanDuel. If you're going to make bets on basketball, do it on FanDuel. We'll talk about my bet a little bit later, how that went. But I'll say this, remember how it felt watching the Suns take down the Spurs? You know, how there was like energy and precision and just the sheer absurdity of it all. Like the team was lights out from deep. They hit 58% of their threes. And it was a night that didn't make sense, like in all the right ways for Phoenix. And then came tonight. And, the Suns fell back to earth. They scored just 107 points in a loss to Golden State. And it was the Warriors' turn to play God, if you will, from beyond the arc. Every kick out, every broken play, every bench guy who hadn't scored in weeks found the bottom of the net. And that's just life in the NBA, right? Like one night you're untouchable, the next night you're the punchline. So you start to wonder if this loss actually means anything or what does it mean? And that's what we're going to talk about on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. So make sure you subscribe, rate, review. I'll go ahead and play the intro and pray to God that my camera comes on.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.
Matthew.
Are you there?
There you are. Here I am.
Looking good.
I got a question for you.
Matthew, I've got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask, why can we sit here? Like, I covered the game for BrightSideOfTheSun.com. For those you don't know, my name is John Boyd, I'm managing editor of Bright Side of the Sun. I know, you as one of the staff writers at Bright Side of the Sun, you do the same thing. We sit in front of our computers for the entire game. We watch the game up in the corner. We're writing notes about the podcast. We're monitoring the subreddit Stakeout. We're typing out the recap. And everything on your computer works fine and dandy. The moment you start this fucking podcast, the camera goes out, your mic doesn't work. It sounds like you're talking from down the hall in the bathroom. Why do computers suck?
It always does that. I think it's because it's prime time, dude. And the people want us, right? They're waiting for us. They're sitting there. They're drooling, waiting for Matthew, Paul, Lissy, and John Voida. And we have to show up big and we show up short most of the time. So that's how we do it.
It's just a reminder that technology is whack. And unfortunately for the Suns tonight, it was one of those situations where the team, they got jumped early. And I literally thought that this was the opposite of what happened against San Antonio. Everything that happened negatively for the Phoenix Suns tonight is what happened negatively for the San Antonio Spurs when we played them, 2 nights ago. So I guess my real question for Matthew, I've got to ask, because I'm just are you concerned after a night like tonight? What's your feel? What's your gauge? On a 3-5 ball club that goes up to Golden State, stays in the game, continues to fight like the Phoenix Suns do, but ultimately allowed themselves to get jumped as early as they did.
I stayed engaged the whole game. I mean, the Suns are doing that too. They're staying engaged. Even Booker was not giving up on that mid-range, and I feel like the whole Suns team, including the bench that were coming in late in the game to help us, including Oso, those are guys that never gave up. You do want to say that always, but on the other side of the ball with the Warriors, maybe they're just kind of giving up and getting a little lazy out there. That's always the issue with the NBA. But I was intrigued the whole time. I did not want to turn this one off and go to sleep. I just always feel like the Suns team has a chance to get back into games. They did. It was a letdown because of the first quarter, but I don't know. I mean, we don't expect too much from this team, but they do surprise you. And that's what I was waiting for, was a surprise. We were surprised down to about 6 points. Was it 8 points? And then kind of lost it from there. But they fought to the very end, which we love to see.
Yeah, I'll agree with what Mark says in the chat here. He says, how much this loss means will be determined by the rest of the games this week. Now, granted, the games that the Phoenix Suns play this week are all against Pacific Division foes. They played Golden State tonight. They return home on Thursday to play the Los Angeles Clippers before going on Saturday night, 8:30 game, mind you, on Saturday night, to play the Los Angeles Clippers. So this game only becomes a concern if you start to extrapolate it out over a long period of time and you start to see a trend, which I don't believe we're going to see, simply because the pieces are going to be different moving forward. It sounds like Jalen Green is getting closer to playing. He's participating in 5-on-5 scrimmages and practices and going pretty hard at it. We still don't know about Dylan Brooks. It might be a week, it might be a couple weeks, but you're going to have some different court chemistry occurring out there. So if any trend continues, it's not going to be based on what we saw tonight. But talking about what we saw tonight, should we start with the positive or the negative?
Let's do it in order. Positive, I feel like.
Okay, let's talk about the bright side of things.
Tell me the
Right side.
All right, Matthew, I'll let you start off. Tell me a bright side of something that you saw in this loss for the Phoenix Suns tonight against the Golden State Warriors.
Well, I mentioned it before. Devin Booker really getting his shot off early. Was not going in, but he did not stop there. He continued to try to work down in the post, get his little fadeaway turnaround to work, and it did eventually, right? It kind of took over the game with the mid-range. Wasn't really focused on the three, which is good to see. But it was different this time because I feel like there were good-looking shots that were going in at first, but he kept it up. This game was kind of muddy in the beginning. And then obviously what happened with the Warriors hitting 7 threes in the first quarter, that's really what wilted the Suns. And then all of a sudden, Booker's like, I'm still going to play my mid-range game. He did the whole time. And I loved it. I feel like it was a different Book this game. He's evolved over the last 3 or 4 games. And now he's just like sticking with it. Like the look on his face is like, I'm not giving up on this shit. Like I'm going to still continue to play my game. We'll get back into it eventually, right? You can't just hit a bunch of threes in a row and get back into the game. Like, continue to play your game. That is the Suns' game. That's Booker's game, is the mid-range. They won the game, obviously, like you said, last game against the Spurs by hitting all those threes, and no one talked about it on any podcast, which I was really upset. I was excited the next day to hear some podcasts, and they're like, Suns, good dub. It's like, okay, well, can we dive into Wemby scoring 2 points in that game? Never happened. But Booker, for me, it was that the defense wasn't as good, I feel like, for the majority of the game, but him just working the mid-range was a spotlight for me.
38 points. Here in the drop.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Big Dick Booker.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, he had 38 points. He was 13 of 24 from the field, only 1 of 5 from beyond the arc, and 11 of 11 from the free throw line. I can't tell you the last time that Devin Booker was 11 of 11 from the free throw line. But you add into there the fact that he had 4 assists. He did have the 5 turnovers, unfortunately. But to your point, what we're seeing from Devin Booker is a consistency now. He's in full-on consistent mode. He was nominated for Western Conference Player of the Week last week based on his performance. Obviously, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won it. Oklahoma City was undefeated. So even though Devin Booker had really impressive statistical output last week, the fact that the team went 2-2 in week 2 of the NBA season ultimately equated to him not winning the Western Conference Player of the Week. But he starts off, week 3, 38 points, and it brings me to a little stat me.
Ooh, dang, stat me.
Oh, look at that! I even got some graphics with that one. So Devin Booker, with his 38 points tonight, now has 248 points in the Suns' first 8 games of the season. That is a Phoenix Suns record for most points to start a season, breaking his own record from last year when he had 237. Here's what's interesting, okay? And this is where we can actually get into a little trivia time, and I want to see what the Jamsters in the chat, how good you are at your Suns trivia knowledge history.
You know what time it is.
Trivia time.
All right, so before this, through the first 7 games, Devin Booker had 210 points in 7 games. That tied him for the most points ever to start a season in 7 games, right? Who was he tied with?
I don't know. Who was it?
Any guesses? and Jamsters, if you're there in the chat, and just know that this individual also he scored 18 points in his 8th game, so he had 228 points in his 8th, so he wasn't in the running.
Okay,
it's very interesting. So I got a Walt Davis from 8 Chains 144. That's a good one.
I'm gonna go Sean Marion.
Sean Marion. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. MJ from Kiko, Michael Jordan. I'm talking just Phoenix Suns. I'm not talking the entire NBA.
It's either him or Amari.
Amari is a good guess. Nash from Kiko. Here's the one hint I'll get to everybody, and I know it's late at night, and everybody's like, "Why the fuck you give me trivia? I don't want to think. I just want to." Blaze Megatron, Ayton. That would be incorrect. It happened in the 1971-72 season.
Was it Walter Davis?
No, wasn't Walter Davis. Walter Davis, gosh, I feel like he was after that.
Yeah.
It's somebody who was holds a lot of low-key records, but you just don't really know about him. Charlie Scott.
Charlie Scott, yeah.
Charlie Scott, who actually played on the Celtics in 1976 against the Suns in the finals. But there you go. A little bit. And Gil Goodrich, that's a good guess by 8 Chains. And a Van Arsdale by Blaze Megatron. Those are good guesses. Yeah, Charlie Scott. So Devin Booker, kind of to your point, is have an unbelievable start to the season. Now, when I talk about my bright side, I've got kind of a weird one to start. Did you see Royce O'Neal before the game? Like they were doing the pregame, warm-ups and all that stuff, and they're getting ready to start. And he literally dapped up half of Phoenix. He has elite chemistry on and off the court. He's going through, he's got a secret handshake with every player on the team. He goes up to the Suns communication guys, like Bryce is sitting right there, and he gives him a fist pump. And I just love seeing that from Royce O'Neal. And it made me think of all the talk that people have about trading him, because they're like, well, we can get rid of him and we can get Kuminga or something. It's like, that's not going to happen. And I'm just like, you know what? Again, locker room guys, Royce O'Neal is so behind the scenes. You haven't heard anything from him. He's like the second longest tenured Sun. It's like Devin Booker and then him.
Royce O'Neal.
Or Grayson Allen and then him. It's just it's unbelievable.
Yeah, a guy who I thought we might just have for a half a season, and it's turned into more. Tonight I thought it was kind of an awful game by him. But I do think that whole dapping thing, that's usually just what they all do, right? Maybe it was just zoned in on him for that instance, but they usually go down the line. They have their own handshakes and all that stuff with everybody.
It was just nice I'm wrong. To see. Maybe it was just the fact that they just focused on Royce O'Neal during the whole thing. I was like, wow, man.
That's a good shot, though. You never see that. You see half of it. You never see the full thing. Yeah.
It's like him and Fleming like bow to each other. Thought that was kind of cool.
A lot of players do that one.
I know.
At least you didn't see the 6'7" in there, did you?
No one was doing that. Thank God.
I think that's
any other bright sides from this game for you?
Yeah, a few more. Just I think that 6-point play from Gillespie was amazing. If nobody remembers, he hit a 3. Draymond Green.
Let me hit him.
Your villain Jr. is calling Gillespie.
And
Gillespie. That play was fantastic.
It was, and he wasn't the best tonight, really. But that one play where it was 2 plays, he hit a 3. Then Draymond just kind of throws it in. You'll hear about it in subreddit how upset the Warriors fans were, how lackadaisical he was. Threw it in right to Gillespie. He hits another 3, timeout, 6 points in 2 seconds, and that cut the lead to 10. So I love that play, obviously, but we had a lot of on the bad side, just 6-point plays going the other way. So that one I had to cherish because I was like, that was great, right? Because Gillespie, he wasn't huge tonight. I feel like he had a hard time handling the ball at times. They all did. The Suns did in the third quarter, the turnovers. So that was a highlight for me with Gillespie, because someone said in the comments last podcast, we didn't talk about Gillespie. It's like, we always do. This is probably the first game where I was a little upset with his ball handling, just the way he actually handled himself on the court tonight.
Yeah, kind of to your point, I think that was the Suns overall. They had a total of 17 turnovers, led to 25 points, and early it's what really killed them, because not only were they turning the ball over, but it was all live ball turnovers that equated instantly to Golden State points. You look at the first half, for example, they had 8 turnovers that led to 13 points. Whereas like the other way, the Suns had forced 5 turnovers, but it only led to 5 points. So that's what was killing the Suns. And so Colin Gillespie, yeah, he had some challenges handling the ball, but I feel like, again, like what the Warriors did to Phoenix is what Phoenix did to San Antonio a couple nights ago, where they were just flustering defensively. They were taking away the first and second action from Phoenix, and Phoenix started to scramble. And when that starts to happen with their long arms and athleticism led by the attitude of Draymond Green, that's what you get. The only other thing that I had for the bright side is I got to give it up to Mark Williams.
Yeah, Mark Williams is a bad man. Yeah, ripping rebounds, blocking shots, playing like a madman. Yeah, crowd go wild when he raised that hand. Pain in the paint, that's the master plan. Bad man.
Dude, 16 points, 16 boards for Mark Williams, 9 of those occurring on the offensive end. And I will say, there's something that like FanDuel hasn't accounted for yet. Because if you do Grayson Allen 4 assists, plus Mark Williams 7 rebounds right now, and every day they give you like a little 20% or 30% profit boost. If you just take those 2 stats, you add the 20% profit boost on top, you're getting like plus 108. So you can put $10 down, you win $10, and it hits almost every time. Like, let's see, Grayson Allen 4 assists, like they or 5 assists, like they just, without Green out there, they're not onto it yet, and they're still really undervaluing Mark Williams. He is a fucking beast, dude. Like, I'm thoroughly enjoying what Mark Williams is bringing, because not only is he a lob threat, not only is he smashing the boards like he's pissed off at him, but he's handling his own on the defensive end. My one concern with him entering the season was I was afraid he was going to fall and drop coverage too much, and opposing teams would take advantage of that and shoot a ton of threes on him. Don't get me wrong. Golden State did do that to a certain effect tonight, but a lot of times, especially like Steph Curry was trying to run that action. And when he would do it, because Mark Williams is so long, Steph Curry was over 3 on those shots because he was trying to overcompensate for the arc he had to put on the ball, because Mark Williams, in his big old bad man hand coming at him, it scared him, and he missed on him. So I continue to be impressed by him. It's nice to know that you have that in the middle. And it's going to be something that, again, I feel like this team, as the season progresses and the cohesion occurs, he's somebody who's going to allow this defense to even gamble a little bit more, because they know that he's behind them.
Yeah, instead of giving up the 3 threes to Quentin Post in the beginning of the game, he had a fantastic game. But who would have thought? I mean, the guy Quentin Post is a 40% three-point shooter his career, but you don't expect him to have that hot of a start. I think that what Williams brings down defensively, now grabbing the boards by himself, most of the time, I think it kind of built to like him actually grabbing it, because I think the Warriors are a little bit smaller in the center and in the paint, so it was a little bit easier for him tonight. But he usually has a team rebounding, right? They kind of rely on Williams to tip it out and stuff like that. But tonight he was grabbing it himself. He was obviously, like you said, a lob threat, but he was a guy too that he needs a little bit of help on the back end. He needs like a guy to come in, back him up, because when he's not in there, like Booker tonight, it was just really well known. I think Oso did okay, because there's like some really weird like Oso like defensive advanced stats that are actually looking good for like forwards off the bench, and maybe that's what Ott's seeing. But it kind of sucks when he does leave the court, because you don't have another guy that can come in and help. And I think it's a lot of teams in the league, obviously, but Williams right now is playing into like a role where he'll be noticed eventually as one of our better players. And he's already kind of maybe cemented himself as that guy right now.
Yeah, again, health is always going to be the question when it comes to Mark Williams. But thus far, it's been a solid start for him this season. Again, you think of what did he play last year? I think his overall average is 35 games played. And entering tonight, he's somebody who in his first, 6 games played, because he's missed 2. Has he missed 2?
I think he's missed 2. Yeah.
It's 1 or 2. Maybe it's only the 1.
I swear it's 2.
Well, 11.5 points per game, 9 rebounds. It's got to be 1, because these are stats that only have 6 games played. But he's just, again, somebody who to keep an eye on, and is fulfilling kind of the promise of what he was supposed to be. Anybody else that you got or any other things that you have for the bright side? Is it time to burn this fucker to the ground?
I think it's time to burn it, other than my little Oso shout out. So I think that's the first time we've done that all year. At first I was like, get him out of the game, but he looked kind of okay there in the third quarter when they had that comeback with Livers in the lineup. So a good little stint there from Oso.
The school board felt that it was best that we investigate every claim made in this burn book.
The Suns Jam Session. Burn book. And my first burn. I thought I clicked something. Did I? Oh, I didn't.
Oh. You know what I'm talking about.
Oso Ighodaro. Get this guy the fuck off the team.
That was the first 2 quarters. It was. But are you at the point where you're like, can we just maybe see what come on looks like? Because there's times around in the paint where he has the ball and he can go up for like his little bunny, which he misses most of the time.
Yep.
And he can't dunk the ball. It's like there's just a bigger guy in there.
He can dunk the ball, but it's only when there's no one in between him and the cylinder, right?
And
any other time, if there's any possibility of contact, Oso's not finishing. so here's my Oso theory, and I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again. The G League opens up in like a week. Right, I'm pretty sure that the Valley Suns home opener is the 14th of November, which is a Friday, which, by the way, we should go to because the Suns don't play that night. It'd be fun to go on a Friday night to the game. The tickets are like $25 a pop, and you get to go see. And my theory is like, Ott is just playing the shit out of Oso, seeing what he has with them, seeing how it works relative to rotations. And then once the G League starts, they send his ass down to the G League, and he becomes a G League All-Star. And then I don't know necessarily. We see some more come on Malawach, or we see some more Rasheer Fleming because the Oso minutes at center are just unacceptable. He gets caught out and switches on Steph Curry, and it's a layup line. And it happened like 3 or 4 times where in key spots where the Suns, as you mentioned, he was part of that comeback, and that's because he has a little bit of that point forward to him, so he can dish the ball, but he wasn't scoring points. He ended with a grand total of 2 points, 1 of 4 from the field in 20 minutes played. He had 3 personal fouls. He had 1 assist. He had 5 rebounds, 2 block shots, and 1 turnover. But on the other end, when the Suns need a key defensive possession, the Warriors are like, okay, draw him out, isolate, go by him. Now, I'm not saying that Mark Williams could have done any better. Kamon Malawach is in a position right now as a player to do better. But there's just, again, the challenge with Oso, it's almost like Bol to me. Whereas Bol was too long and skinny to be a center and wasn't fleet of foot enough to be a power forward. Okay, he could shoot a little bit, and that's the only thing that was his saving grace was he could stretch the floor. Oso doesn't have that. Oso's not big enough to be an effective center, and he's not skilled enough as a scorer to be an effective power forward. He can play some point forward. He can pass the ball. He can set some half-ass screens. But for the most part, I'm kind of hitting that point of that I'm kind of hitting, he's in the book, Matthew. He's in the book.
He's been in the book, I feel like, right? It's just, it's one of the first burn books we had to go to because it was that bad. It's like
he was chapter 1.
Yeah, he was over 2. The bunnies he had too were wide open. Like
wide open.
If that's Commando, and I'm just saying, obviously he would dunk it over somebody right there. He would absolutely. He set the guy up.
Even if he doesn't dunk, he's got more touch on his shot to where you feel like he's going to. Yes, or he's going to give himself a proper attempt versus just like Oso's shot is like when you've been out drinking after your team wins the World Series and you have like 8 beers, 3 shots of whiskey, and some champagne. And then you have to go and get your car the next day and you're driving shotgun and you just want to go, because that's what his shot's like. It's almost like throwing up. It comes out of his hand like throw up comes out of somebody's mouth after 8 shots of whiskey and some champagne.
Dude, it sounds like that's what you did this past weekend.
Didn't uke.
Oh, you did not uke. I almost wanted to the next morning. I never did.
I felt like I should have because I also had like half of a cigar. I'm like, oh, that's probably going to do it. That's not going to be good.
Yeah, his shot, though, every time he has it, I feel like it is one of those things where he's like, should I shoot it? Should I not? Like, you don't want that on the court. So it's tough, man. I don't know where you go from it. I think that Ott maybe has an idea what to do with Kaman. Who knows? Because he has to be – these rookies around him that were drafted are playing. Like, we got to see something from him, especially if it's a blowout and you put Kaman in. Probably not the best idea. But maybe in these games where it's close or we're blowing out a bad team, we've got to see more of him. But we have a tough stretch coming up, so I don't know when we're going to see him.
Agreed. And to that point, like they're not ready. And Suns fans, I'll continue to kind of beat this. We're 8 games in the season. We're 10% of the way through the season. This team is still working on its culture. It's defining the mechanics. It's defining the schemes, because ultimately what you want to do is you want to have good footage for these guys to study, so they can sit there and watch Oso and watch Nick Richards and Mark Williams and say, hey, see what they're doing? This is what they're doing right. This is what we want you to mirror. This is what they're doing wrong. This is what we want you to avoid, versus putting them out there and try to figure it out in real time in games that matter. In time, it will happen. By the midpoint of the season, right, when you and I are sitting here and it's January/February, I guarantee you these guys are going to be getting some burn. It's guaranteed. But at this point, we just have to suffer through the shots.
Yeah, and plus we have, obviously, I don't know what Dylan Brooks and those guys are doing, but they're not in yet, so we have to see that kind of evolve into their
technical
offense.
fouls.
That was one of my burn books. I don't know. I think that, those guys missing games like Dylan Brooks and Green, it's one of those things where it's like, what is going on? Like, coming into the season, I was really dead set on, like, let's see how healthy this team is. And I hate the fact that you'll have a good game and then a player will be out a couple weeks and have to sit through it. But it's already happening right now, and I don't know if I can handle it, because I'm like, we obviously need these dudes. Last spot I was saying, can we just do without them because it looks so good against the Spurs? But you already know when Devin Booker's out of the game, we need another guy like Dylan Brooks. Jalen Green to handle the ball and get some shots up. Otherwise, we have nobody else but Gillespie, and he's doing the best that he can right now.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Now, again, I know that we're on the precipice of seeing, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Green is starting on Thursday against the Clippers, or at least playing. I don't know if he'll start, but at least playing and getting an opportunity to get out there and play. And I know it's frustrating, and I'm with you, and I agree. My only retort to that is, you take a look at every team, and it's rampant. It always is. Like, you always feel like it's your team that's just getting boned when it comes to injuries, and a lot of times with the Suns it is. But ultimately, I feel like it's just we're a product of our environment, and we're sitting here and going, gosh darn it, I wish we could see them play more. Our team is screwed. And then you're like, I guess that's not necessarily true, because other teams are running into the same issue.
And how frustrating is it, though, when the Suns are only down by 10 or 8, and then he's on the bench causing a technical? Like, that's one of the worst things you can do. Devin Booker did it back in Mexico City. What was it, 3 or 4 years ago?
Oh, no,
like
that was 5-6 years ago, but I'll never forget Chris Paul.
Yeah, that's one of the worst things you can do, be that vocal to where you get a technical. Like, you haven't even played yet. I mean, you played a few games, but you're not in there when this team's trying to scrounge for, like, an actual win against the Warriors when they thought the game was over, when they're down by 25. Like, that must suck as a teammate to be like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, does he hear it in the locker room when they go back there?
They might have been like, dude, like, because it was kind of a momentum killing situation. Steph Curry got fouled. It was kind of a bullshit foul, but it went from an 8-point deficit to an 11-point deficit, and that was kind of it. But this does bring me to another stat, Matthew.
Ooh, dang, stat me.
So the Suns currently have 3-point. They're ranked 10th in the NBA. Let's just put it this way. They're ranked 10th in the NBA in payroll, injured cash totals based on injuries. I'm trying to think of the way to properly say it.
Yeah, money we're paying for guys that are hurt right now.
Exactly. They're number 10. Number 1 in the league. Any guesses?
It would be, I was going to say the Clippers, but they've actually been playing. Would it be, freaking, come on, dude. I know what this is.
Clippers are actually dead last.
Is it? Yeah, because they've been playing all their games.
Yeah.
Shit. I know who it is. It is the Memphis Grizzlies?
Nope.
Oh, who?
It's the Lakers, because LeBron's hurt.
Oh,
and he makes a lot of money. Yep, Saul, you're right.
And Luka's been out too. He's been playing every other game.
Out. Yep.
Yeah.
It's the Lakers, Indianapolis being second, obviously. Indiana Pacers with Halliburton. Cleveland's number 3, Dallas number 4, San Antonio number 5. The Suns are currently 10th in that capacity.
Okay.
So come to the Suns Jam Session podcast. Leave with some stats that you can talk to your friends about. And they're like, wow, man, you're an educated Suns fan. That's the service that we provide for you.
Yeah, you can go to a party.
Yeah. Stats you tell your friends at parties, right? Aren't you glad that Russello's back? Did you listen to the pod today?
I did. Yeah. And I love how it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. And I love how he lets the guys talk. I don't always like the college football stuff, but it's good to have him back on the network where he can just do whatever he wants. The weirdest thing though is Kyle gone, and I just feel like
Rudy?
there's what?
Kyle's
Yeah,
there.
I know, but he left the ringer, but
Oh yeah,
he was talking about on the podcast about just not having a job. He's jobless. He's like at his dad's or something. It's
he
what?
moved back to Poughkeepsie instead
Like,
of
what
living out in
happened?
LA. Must have
Something
been some falling
happened,
out with
dude.
old Bill Simmons. I'm
I
waiting
wonder
to hear
if he got
that
divorced.
backstory.
Oh, I can't wait, dude.
No, because they have the rabbits. The rabbits are in the garage.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I'm like, there had to have been something with Bill Simmons, like, fuck you then, or something like that.
Must
There's
have
no
been.
way, right?
He's like,
It's
hey,
nephew
man.
Kyle.
He might have been like, hey, man, like, I'm thinking of going with him. He's like, then fucking go. Because I feel like Bill Simmons is a prick.
Yeah, he has to be. And he talks over everybody, so it's annoying.
And Ryan Russillo doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He's
Lets him
he's like a Joe Rogan, right? He lets him talk.
We should put that on the bright side.
I did have another burn book.
Did?
I did. And it's the Warriors, one of the worst fast break teams in the league. 11% of their points come off of fast break points. Tonight, 25% of them came off of fast break points. And obviously, the second chance points was huge too, because they gave up, Suns gave up nothing, so never mind. And the points off turnover, 25. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you the one that got me, and it's kind of fallen right along what you said. This is a team, like you said, that doesn't get out and run. This is a team that was 25th in the NBA in bench points, and they went for 63 tonight, Matthew. They had 62.
And they were starting some of their bench.
Their bench had more points than the Suns did. They had 36 points. We had 35. So, again, that's where the Suns got blitzed in this one. It's almost like they had prepared, and Coach Ott had done a good synopsis of the starters. Jimmy Butler gets injured in this game. They didn't prepare well enough for what the bench was going to bring, and like Mr. Devin Mitchell says in the chat, 17 turnovers is way too many. And that's where the Suns live.
Yeah.
The Suns, they're a team that they're going to turn the ball over a ton. I believe last I checked, they were like second most in the league, is the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, that's yikes. And what else is yikes too is the 6-point swings. I talked about them a little bit earlier, but Royce O'Neal had one. I mean, they had a fast break, a steal, and he comes down on the fast break, stops for the 3, misses it, and then the Warriors on the other end get a 3. Same thing happens with the Warriors getting a 3-point play after Grayson Allen misses a 3, because Grayson Allen comes back, fouls. I forget who it was. I think it was Kuminga, and Kuminga just gets an and 1. So that's 6 points right there. Like that happened multiple times.
And a soft and 1.
It's the same two dudes. It's Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen. Keep doing that shit on the fast breaks and the and 1s. So that's got to stop. Those are the little plays here and there that really cost us a game. It wasn't really Dylan Brooks and the 1 point he gave up, but it was
that's a great observation, because you're 100% correct that not only are these guys because you got to think about it. Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal are going to find themselves in transition the most, because they're the guys who on the offense are going to be shooting the 3 ball. And when you shoot the 3 ball and you miss, there's going to be a long rebound, and you're the one getting back and playing defense. Those guys, when they're running back and playing in transition defense, either let the guy get the fucking layup or foul the shit out of him. Don't do both. And that's what they've consistently done. And I think back to like the Jazz game last week, and I think back to the conversation you and I had about Royce O'Neal doing that exact same thing to Ja Morant, who might not be a Memphis Grizzly much longer. And that was the same situation. It's like, dude, either foul him or don't. But like, you slow the game down, you slow momentum down. The thing that the Suns have done very well this year is they've played with pace. Last year, they were 21st, 22nd in the league in pace. They're like 11th or 12th this year. So it's definitely something that they're objectively trying to accomplish, is be a team that plays with pace. You know what kills your pace is when you're fouling guys in and 1 situations, because if you just let the guy get the layup, you can turn around, you can pop the ball right back out, and half your team's already down there because it's a transition opportunity. So take advantage of that instead of just boneheadedly kind of lightly slapping them or giving their, Johnson a little tug on the way up to the cylinder.
Yeah, it's a lot of those plays, man. And I think really, if they can cut that out, that's great. But there's also just the passing in the third quarter too. With the 6 turnovers was the majority of their turnovers in that quarter. When they were trying to get back, they outscored the Warriors 34-24 in that quarter. But the way that they were passing the ball at times, where they're just kind of skittish, like, oh my God, we're back in the game. They're forcing it too much, and they were just going way too fast, and they were finding themselves up in the air, throwing the ball away too many times. So I think the building blocks are like, you come back from these 20-point deficits, but it's like, how do you handle yourself in these tough situations where the defense is pressing you and you have to make the pass without Booker there or another guy that can handle the ball? That's where they're struggling right now in these type of games. But I think they can get there. Just like the Spurs game, I knew they had it in them to kind of take on these bigger juggernauts and make it a game. they'll get there. And I think they're doing a good job of taking the right steps.
Yeah, exactly. It's all part of a building process at this point. So I will ask this question because this popped up in the chat, and it's a topic of conversation. You know, Saul asked the question. He goes, Jalen Green for Ja Morant. I have mixed feelings. Everyone's kind of, there's no rumors. Obviously, Bleacher Report put out an article yesterday listing 5 teams that could be potential destinations for Ja Morant. And the Phoenix Suns were number 2 because they said you give them Jalen Green, you give a first-round pick, and you give up our trade exception, which you actually technically wouldn't even need because of the fact that we're an under first apron team. Mm-hmm. We can give away a contract, or we can give away a contract and receive back that the value of that contract plus 125%. So the 2027 first round pick, which is heavily protected. Thoughts on that? Jalen Green for Ja Morant.
I mean, I love it. It's just, why would anybody want, and we haven't seen Jalen Green in the Suns uniform. Who would want him back? If you're giving up Ja, there's still potential of him going back to 2 years of who he was, maybe in a different scenario, a different place, a new fresh start. That's always the thing with these stars. And he just fresh start, and he's probably sick of Memphis. Who knows? Everyone says that he loves it there, but everyone loves it everywhere. There's no such thing as a place like a home in the NBA. I don't think. I think he can easily move on. The Phoenix Suns, though, giving up Jalen Green, that would be a steal for the Suns, don't you think? Like, to have our point guard, like, that would be insane.
So here's where I go. So I'm on the other side of this because I think that, and this. Remember when we had a shot at Ja coming out of the draft? How excited we were, and then how disappointed we were when we ended up with like the 7th pick. That was the draft. We ended up with the 7th pick, right? And we ended up turning into like Cam Johnson and Dario Saric and all that fun stuff. So that was that draft. My challenge with Ja is a couple of different things. One, we have a recent history of acquiring disgruntled players, and guess what? It doesn't help the team. So that I'm scorned. I'm scorned in that capacity. 2, I feel like Ja Morant, unfortunately, he's diminishing because of the way that he's played. I looked it up, and I looked at it, because I was talking with somebody on Bright Side of the Sun in the comments, in the community comments there, and they're talking about, him versus Russell Westbrook. And I go, well, Russell Westbrook played 90% of his games in his first 6 seasons. Ja's played 65. Now, granted, one of those is due to a suspension. So now you have some character issues in there. And I think for a team that's really trying to reset their culture, he's not the right move at this point, especially for what he's paid. And kind of fortifying what you said to start this conversation, we haven't seen Green yet. We don't know what this looks like yet. We're seeing Devin Booker play out of his mind. You need now Jalen Green to come and be the Robin, positionless basketball. I mean, who's our point guard right now? Everyone who's like, well, that means we get a point guard. It's like, yeah, but do we need a point guard? We don't have a point guard right now, per se. Grayson Allen is acting in that capacity. Colin Gillespie is acting in that capacity, but not really. He's not a great distributor. He's just a motherfucker, which is what we need is motherfuckers, not guys who want to come out here and say, fuck your mother, So it's like, I don't know if I want to deal with that. And again, it's probably because I'm scorned because Kevin Durant wanted out of his situation. He came here. Bradley Beal wanted out of his situation and came here. And now we get Ja Morant. So at this point, I'm not really in that camp.
Yeah, you don't want to be hurt again, John, and I understand
that.
It's crazy to think, though, that we have an opportunity maybe to get Ja, if that is a potential, and we're just like, nah, because of the off-the-court issues and the fact that he is kind of calling out his coach in an interview. It's like we just had all that stuff happen here last 2 years. Nothing's happened. So I see your side. I definitely do. I just see the potential of Ja, but I see it too. I see the schematics of how it could work. I can see the on-court, but he's not the same
chemistry and geometry occurring because of the fact that he is a point guard. He's a distributor.
He's not the same guy. But what is the actual like? Is it a real thing for him to come back and be the old Ja? Like, does that ever happen in the NBA anymore? Like, I would love for that to happen, but it might not. So I'm a fan of it. I think it'd be great to see what it looks like, but I don't know, man. It's just funny how Green's still out hurt. It doesn't make any sense. Well, so I wish we would have saw that before this happened.
Yeah, have some more information to make an educated decision. All right, you were hanging out in Golden State tonight, which God bless you for doing so.
Yes, sir.
And Matthew give us the report on the Golden State Warriors subreddit.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Subreddit Stakeout is brought to you by NettlesAir.com. Visit NettlesAirs.com. If you need an absolute unit, they will get you a unit together. 623-444-4088. All right, Matthew, I love your commitment to the bit because I've given up on doing Batman because it hurts my voice. I think I'm going to start doing Kermit the Frog again, but Matthew went to the Golden State Warriors subreddit dressed as the Invisible Man. For those of you who are listening at home, it's going to sound like nothing different, but for those of you watching, you understand this experience. Matthew, tell me what they were saying on the subreddit stakeout for the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, the weird thing is, too, Jamsters, is to be invisible, you have to be naked. So every time I do this...
do you ever brush up against anybody?
Yeah, an accident in the back of their head. Sorry. Someone said, why don't we just let Steph and Quinn shoot threes every possession? Are we stupid? So we all know how it started. So that was the game. Suns fans right now saying every game some scrub goes off against us. I think that's what we were saying, right?
Yeah. Sounds about right.
New rule, 1 unk per rotation. I think that was around the time that Draymond threw the ball away. Draymond is thinking about his podcast over playing right now, which is totally true. Laugh out loud. Booker being the only player on the roster drafted by Phoenix is so sad. I don't understand what that means.
Come on, Malawatch. Rasheer Fleming, Ryan Dunn, Oso Iguodala. Tell me you don't know ball without telling me you don't know ball. Warrior subreddit.
Yeah, I had to point that one out. It's pretty bad. Unless you meant something else. Kuminga 2K glitch. So that travel from the 3-point line, that was hilarious. One of the craziest things I've ever seen. Booker was laughing at him. Yeah, so I had to put that was a glitch. But that's all I had from subreddit.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
By the way, Matthew, you weren't invisible and you were naked that whole time, and no one will probably somebody will probably report us for that.
Okay,
so just letting you know. Just letting you know.
Okay,
you're probably gonna end up on a list.
I'll be out on the streets. Okay.
Yeah.
Jam star of the game.
All right, Jamsters, a reminder, subscribe, rate, review, hit that thumbs up button. Thank you so much. We're over 3,900 subscribers here on YouTube. Keep that count rising. Let's get to 4 Gs, man. It'd be cool. It's what I like to tell people. Whenever I meet them, I go, hi, my name is John Voight, and I've got 3,900 subscribers on YouTube. And they go, sir, can you just order your beer and get the fuck away from my bar? But let us know in the chat who your jam star of the game is. I'll go first. I don't think this is a hard one, just like it wasn't the last game. 38 points for Devin Booker, 13 of 24. Again, the key for Devin Booker over these past few games, it's about 4 games in a row now, that comfortability that you and I were talking about the front end of the season, where it was we're trying to identify how his actions on the court were being perceived, and was it frustration? Was it, to the point where Dan Bickley was just blasting him, saying that his body language is horrible? He looks comfortable now, and I think that this is what, 3rd or 4th jam star of the game in a row. So jam star for me, Devin Armani Booker, 29 years old from University of Kentucky.
Same for me, guys. I think that Devin Booker is just needing a little bit more help out there to win these games, but he is killer right now.
Maybe it could be John Morant or Jalen Green. Aussie Suns fans gives it to Book. It looks like Mr. Devin Mitchell is giving it to Book as well. Blaze Megatron in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. Says Suns Jam BDB. It's jam star for me is Book from Kiko, Booker, and no one else from Saul. The Suns better beat the Clippers on Thursday night from Mark. That's not a jam star. Enormous schlong Booker from Keith Nettles. So, and he did have that tonight. So, and then Saul does add J.K. Allen and Williams honorable mention. All right, Matthew, next up for the Suns, we got the Los Angeles Clippers. You want to talk a little bit about what we're going to see from the clip show?
Yeah, let's bring up the Los Angeles Clippers are facing the Suns Thursday. Sorry.
Starting line with Kawhi Leonard, Ivica Zubac, Derek Jones Jr., James Harden, and Bradley Beal is who they're going to be starting at their starting 5, most likely. Things subject to change. Kawhi Leonard to this point is averaging 23.8 points, 6 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 2.2 steals, and shooting 44.4% from beyond the arc. Pretty impressive.
I stumbled over that.
Yes, you did. We gotta give you more reps.
I got too giggly over here, dude.
You're like, woohoo. And Blaze Megatron says, "Isn't Beal out? Who knows, man?
He
He's in,
out
he's
tonight.
out, he's in, he's out. Yeah, so
well,
if he's
he
out
played
tonight,
2
he's
games
probably
before.
in.
Yeah, he's still kind of playing, but it's back to back tonight. So they are actually losing to the Thunder right now, 120 to 100. So it looks like the Thunder is still going to be 8-0 or undefeated. They're going to be 8-0, and the Clippers are going to be 3-4. So the Suns are 3-5. 3-4 Clippers, so battle for the 10th seed. Let's see how it goes down.
Back at the Intuit Dome. This is our second game playing there, and obviously we play. Or no, this one's at home, and then we play the Intuit Dome. Shit, I gotta change that in my recap. Game's at home, right?
Yep. Yeah.
I gotta change that on the Bright Side recap. Shit, it's 11:30 at night. I have to rewrite something. So win, loss.
If they don't find themselves down by 20 again, it might help. But I do think I can see it being a loss, right? I mean, I can see it just because I think these Clippers, they want to play. Like Kawhi's played like every game this year, right? And they're really kind of flowing right now. I know they're going to be 3-4, but playing against the Thunder, it's just like I think the Thunder have injuries right now too. They don't even have their full team. So I don't know, man. It's really up to how they want to play in the first half. And if they don't want to go down by 20 and keep it a game at halftime, then they have a chance for sure. But lights out shooting won't be the whole thing. If they can shoot 3, obviously from the 3, then that's going to be great. But defensively, they have to just make sure that they keep this game in control. Don't let it out of hand. Make sure they're good timeouts called, and James Harden doesn't go for 50 points.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good team. James Harden had 17 points in the first quarter tonight against OKC, and they still lost. So, I mean, that's a very good team. Obviously, we know we've played them once already. I just want to be competitive again. I think that the first time we played them, there wasn't necessarily that level of competitiveness yet that we've seen from this team over the past 4 or 5 games. Don't let tonight become a trend. I think that that's kind of my takeaway for this game. Anything else you want to add before we go on and get on out of here tonight, Matthew?
No, I think it's still going to be a fun season. I don't mind these losses right now. So I'm
enjoying watching the games, man. I'm enjoying watching the games.
Me too.
It looks like you're covering the game on behalf of Brightside. Do you need a credential request?
I don't think I'll be going, but I'll let you know.
Well, let me know soon, because if you're not going, I'm going to put in a credential request for me.
Yeah, you can probably go to this one. That's fine.
All right.
I won't be going.
Well, that's how we do things here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. We don't talk unless we're actually on the podcast together. I don't even know this man. Everybody go home and love your family. Right, Matthew?
Yeah, all right.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.